In this video, we will demonstrate how to create a Palo Alto firewall instance within an AWS VPC. We'll also configure a simple firewall policy. Let's begin with a description of our topology. We will first build out a VPC with a public and private subnet. We'll then create 3 subnets, one for our management interface, one for the untrusted or internet side of our firewall, and then one more for our trusted inside interface. We'll place the management and untrusted interface within the public subnet and configure the route table with a default route pointing to the internet gateway. The trusted interface remain in the private subnet. We'll also create 2 security groups. One security group for managing the firewall and another for traffic to the firewalls. Once the networking is in place, then we will create and configure our Palo Alto instance. At the AWS console, select VPC, create VPC, give it a name and a CIDR block, then click Create. Next, we create our 3 subnets. For management, I'll give this a CIDR of 10.1.1.0/28. All subnets will be in the same availability zone. Next, I'll create the untrusted interface. And I will give it a CIDR of 10.1.2.0/24. Then we create the trusted subnet. I'll give this a CIDR of 10.1.3.0/24. Next, create an internet gateway. Then attach it to our VPC. Next, we will associate our management and untrusted interfaces with the public subnet. And configure a default route pointing to the internet gateway. Now let's create our 2 security groups. The first security group for managing the firewall. I will permit SSH and 443 traffic only. Then we create a second security group for the firewall traffic. We will permit all traffic for the purposes of this demonstration. So, with the infrastructure now in place, let's create our firewall instance. We will head to the AWS Marketplace and search for the Palo Alto VM. Here's Palo's price list for running the VM. We will select our instance size, which is going to be an M5 extra large. Next, select our VPC and the management interface. Then enable a public IP. No other configs are needed on this screen. We won't need to add storage. For tags, give it a name. Next, we will select the security group that we created for the management interface. Then we review our instance settings and select launch. I will be using an existing key pair that I already created. Now, we just wait for our instance to come up. Next, we will SSH to our instance and change the admin password. By default, no password is set, so please don't forget this step. So I'll put in my super secret password. Then we will commit the change. Now let's connect to our instance via HTTPS. Perfect. Now we just log in. On the dashboard to the left, it will show us the general properties of our instance. Let's navigate to our interfaces. ETH11 and ETH12 will serve as our untrusted and trusted interfaces respectively. Let's allocate an elastic IP to serve as the IP for our untrusted interface. Next, we will need to create and attach 2 elastic network interfaces to our instance. By default, it just has ETH0, which is currently being used by our management interface. We will create the untrusted first and attach it to the untrusted subnet. Then we will apply the security group that we created for the firewall. Then we will label the ENI. Next, we will do the same for our trusted interface and apply it to the trusted subnet. Now, the next steps are extremely important. We need to disable the source destination check. This will enable the instance interfaces to pass traffic through that it has neither a source nor destination for. Now we are ready to attach our ENIs to the instance. We will also disable source destination check on the instance itself. Next, let's configure our firewall interfaces. We will change it to layer 3. Select the default router. And create our untrusted zone. Then head to the IPv4 tab. We'll select DHCP client, and we will permit the interface to create a default route to the gateway. For the trusted interface, ETH1/2, we will repeat the process. With the exception that we will uncheck the creation of a default route to the gateway. Now we see that both of our interfaces are showing up, so let's commit our changes. Once committed successfully, we can verify that DHCP is working correctly on our interfaces. Now, let's create a simple policy that will permit all of the trusted zone traffic to the untrusted zone. The policy looks good, so let's commit it. One quick note, we didn't need to apply a license for this demonstration, but here's where you would apply it in a real deployment. In this video, we demonstrated how to create a Palo Alto instance within an AWS VPC, and we configured a simple firewall policy. I hope that you found the video useful, and thank you for watching.